Hi viewers, today we have another watch from Edox. Edox must be one of the most underrated Swiss brands that I know of. They are a fantastic manufacturer and they do really make some high quality watches. So let's have a look at this one. This is quite special. This is a dive watch and it is called the Skydiver Neptunian. So let's have a look at this one. Now, as you can see, this is quite a big dive watch. The case size is 44mm. It's just over 15mm thick. The lug width is 20mm and the lug to lug is 50mm. Now, if you haven't heard of Edox before, you really should check these guys out. They do make some wonderful watches, and being an unknown brand, you can tend to get them at really good discounts. So you're getting a very good watch, very high value luxury Swiss watch, a lot of the time for very little money for what you get. Now, they were founded in 1884, so they've been around quite a long time. Very reputable Swiss brand with a lot of history and heritage. So yeah, check them out, have a look. They've got the Skydiver range here, the Neptunian. They also do a lower price Skydiver, which is a little bit less robust than this. And then you've got other watches like the Delphin series, but they do tend to do a lot of dive watches. That's what they're known for. So this is probably one of their best that I've seen. Just a quick story about the Edox Skydiver Neptunian, where it gets its name from and why did Edox make it. Well, it was based on something they found in their archives. This was initially a special production, a limited edition production for a Swiss colonel for his mountain paratroopers, these elite paratroopers. He wanted a really rugged special timepiece for them. And it was a product that got shelved and they resurrected it for this watch. But that's where the name Skydiver comes from, which seems a bit odd for a dive watch to call it Skydiver, but it's for the paratroopers, so they obviously jump out of the plane into the sea and they need a watch that can handle that. And that is where the Skydiver Neptunian was born. And this is a lovely tribute to that and a very special edition. This is a pretty weighty watch. Bit surprising at the size 44mm case that they give it a 20mm wide strap. I think the bracelet is the one disappointing area with this watch. It's quite a thin bracelet, and being 20mm wide is quite narrow as well. For such a big watch, I would think a 22mm bracelet would have been better. This range does come with a rubber strap option as well, but I think it looks better on the bracelet because it's such a meaty watch and it has that bit of luxury about it. But this watch is by no means perfect in its looks. I'm still undecided what I really think about it. Sometimes I think it's absolutely amazing and really a beautiful watch to look at, and then other times there's little things that bother me about it. One of them being the ceramic bezel, which is very well made, but has no numbers or digits on it. So it looks rather sterile, and sometimes it makes me feel like I'm looking at a micro brand watch rather than a Swiss brand of Edox's heritage. So yeah, I don't really know why they didn't put numbers on there. Most dive watches have numbers on the bezel. It plays quite an important function, and in my opinion it looks a lot better as well. I don't like that minimal look on the bezel. The bezel is an important feature. It's not just there for show, so you need the numbers on there. Bit of a weird one, that. And as I say, the other thing is the bracelet. It's just too thin. Those links are very thin. It just doesn't feel substantial enough for the watch. You know, these retail at around about $1,500. it's an expensive watch, and it is very well made, but the bracelet just doesn't match the rest of the watch for its quality. But those two things are really the only negatives I find about this watch. The clasp itself is very nicely done, it's well made. Clicks nicely, good solid click mechanism. You have quite a unique extension here with these little catches. You just press those and it slides out, which is good. Nicely signed on there. So the clasp is well made. As I said, it's a ceramic bezel. Let me show you the action. Turns very well. It's a 60 click unidirectional bezel. Very solid, very little play if any at all. And the alignment is spot on. And to me the most appealing feature of this watch is the dial, with that very eye-catching gradient of dark blue to light blue. And then you've got the applied indices, and these are filled with Superlume Manova X1, so it's a pretty decent lume. You've got a lume pip on the bezel as well. I also like the inner chapter ring. Looks quite cool with that wording around the edge there. High pressure resistant, and the 100 ATM, which signifies this is a 1000 meter water resistant watch, so that's another strong feature. 1000 meters, which is why it's so thick. It also has the helium escape valve as well. It is a very shiny, highly polished watch in many areas, and I keep having to stop filming and wipe it away because I can't bear seeing fingerprints in videos. It's really annoying. So it really is a fingerprint magnet. Every few seconds I'm stopping and wiping it clean. You've got very highly polished sides, nicely curved down lugs. The top of the lugs are actually brushed, which is nice, and then the beveled edge is polished. The side of the bezel is polished, has a good grip on it. The centre links are polished and the outer links are brushed. And then you have a very smart case back, which is polished on the edges, and then you've got an embossed relief of the Neptune, god of the sea there. Wonderful. Nicely done, that. Does look pretty cool. The crown is signed, it's obviously a screw down crown. Pretty good action, a little bit, tiny little bit gritty, but not bad. Good pop. Good date change, it's all very solid and silky smooth. But you'd expect that for a watch of this price. And this watch is powered by the Sellita SW200. It is modified by Edox, and it's very accurate and reliable. All in all, it's a very solid diver's watch. More of a luxury looking dive watch than a tool dive watch. But it does have a lot of presence on the wrist and does look pretty impressive actually. The indices are really nicely applied. I do like that. Nice shaped hands. Got the arrow shape on the hour hand there. The second hand goes right to the edge with that lume pip towards the end, lollipop style. And then you've got that sort of vintage font Skydiver in the dial. Printed very nicely. So a lot of good things about this watch. It's just one of those pieces that I'm still not sure about. Can't quite put my finger on it. It is a beautiful, well-made watch, but just not perfect. Having said that, there are some wonderful features, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail with some close-up views now. So there's that beautiful dial in close up. You can see how well applied those markers are now. Really nice, highly polished edges on them. Very sharp. The second hand looks great. And I do love that blue and dark blue gradient, radial gradient dial. It does look fantastic. I think it would have looked better if they maybe framed the date window with silver edge as well. The printing is flawless. Very crisp and sharp. See the signed crown there. It's a very decent crown, well protected with those highly polished crown guards. And you can see that marvellous finishing on the lugs. Very well done. So we'll look at the case back now. Yeah, that's a very smart looking case back. Very solid. Beautiful finishing. Superb craftsmanship. Very well done. Okay, let's see how that looks on the wrist now. Just take off my beautiful Alpina. Nice. And there it is. It is a big watch, it's 44mm, but it doesn't look too bad because the lug to lug is not too long at 50mm. It's quite comfortable for such a big watch, and the lugs curve down enough to make it sit pretty well. Not bad at all. Okay, let's look at that Superluminova X1 in the dark now. So that's pretty much it for this review of the Edox Skydiver Neptunian. A bit of a mixed bag. Not sure what it's trying to be. Is it a serious dive watch? I mean, it should be at 1,000 meters. But then it's so blingy, so many polished areas, and with no numbers on the bezel, that all detracts from being a serious dive watch as well. So on the one hand, you know, we've got the helium valve as well. On the one hand it is a proper serious dive watch, and then on the other it's just a luxury dressy dive watch rather than a tool watch. Very mixed bag, but overall I have to say I do really like it. There's something quite special and unique about it, and it does look pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.